Hello, and welcome to Sunshine Musings. My name is Ian, or Platy the Sunshine Platypus, and today I'm going to be focusing on a theme that's been both in my life recently and feels really important, as well as in the collective. After all, we are all in the same collective experience here together, and so as we're all on our own individual journeys, we also share similar things, themes that we're going through, and experiences. I am going to practice this idea of discernment in focusing a bit more on the topic. As you may know from some of my other videos, I do like to go on tangents. Everything is connected, and so it's exciting to just go off and flutter into all different directions. So yeah, anyways, this idea of discernment is really, in my experience, come up especially in choosing either activities that I'm doing in my life or even where I'm choosing to spend my time, and getting, as I've mentioned before, feedback, which is much more immediate and strong, whether we're on the right path, or I shouldn't say right path, on a path in resonance with our soul's journey and who we truly are in a deep down way, and being authentic to ourselves and our truths, and when we're not. And so this is where this idea of discernment comes in, is to help connect us in with who we truly are, our life's paths, and again, back to this idea of feedback from the universe, from situations. If we are in interaction with people that doesn't feel good, we're going to get that feeling, and more strongly than we might have in the past, because as our universe and everything is spinning faster and faster, exponentially even, we are feeling this more and more. And so it's, again, this invitation to drop in with what feels good, and using our emotions as our compass and our guide. I've also mentioned before this checking in with those emotions, because on the discernment piece, there's the times that maybe doesn't feel good, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes it can feel not good because we know deep down that whatever we're doing, either the people we're spending our time with or the activity we're doing, or even just, maybe that activity but in the wrong moment, because it could be something that we really enjoy doing but it's just the not right now idea, is that there's a time when it's just not in alignment with our journey at all. And there's a time when it can be maybe something unknown or pushing our edges, or something that can bring up a little uncomfortability, anxiety, fear. And so then we get to look, well, is that something that we want to step into right now? How much are we pushing our boundaries? How much are we pushing our edges? And is it a growing opportunity? And, everything can be seen as a growing opportunity. The discernment to say, well, okay, I see this as a growing opportunity. Does it feel right now? Maybe I'm been worn down. Maybe I just need to ground in. Maybe I just need some self-care and to chill. So maybe it's not the time to push those edges, push those boundaries, and grow. Or maybe it is. And again, there's no definitive answer to this. It's merely, for my experience, what works well is just to see that as a curiosity, an inquiry, to check in with ourselves, be like, hey, is this not feeling in alignment with my soul and who I am at all? And then I'll cut it out. Or am I feeling fearful and because it's new? And then to make a decision from there, and also knowing that we can always change that decision. For example, in my own experience, yesterday I was really excited for a couple different experiences. One was for a comedy show that I oftentimes go to and I really enjoy, and I was looking forward to laughing. And I also had a party with really great people and just good times of connection and dancing and all kinds of stuff. And so I ended up stopping by the party and connecting in and felt really great with that. And then decided to go to do the show and come back. And I went to the show, and it just wasn't feeling in resonance with where I was at in that moment. And so I made the decision to say, okay, that's fine. I checked it out. I felt into it. It wasn't a mistake to come here. I didn't make a wrong decision, and I'm going to realign with what feels good using my emotions, my feeling, all of that to say, hey, let's, go back to the party, connect in. And it ended up being a continued, a lovely, great night. Something that also, as well as using our emotions as our compass, that I find really helpful is to look for those synchronicities that start happening. Synchronicities show us that we're in flow with the universe, with our lives, with our personal journey and our soul's journey, and connecting in. And so to listen to that and look for where those things might show up. Maybe it's that someone that was at that party that, I hadn't seen for a while, and boom, there they are. And, just to take note, as we notice those things, they start to appear more, and we hone in on that path of bringing those things that are basically just, it's a sounding board. It tells us, hey, you're in flow, or maybe not. And so we get that opportunity. And as we journey with this, it becomes easier and easier, just as with anything that we practice, we get better at it. And so this kept coming up for me in that experience of heading back. I had just some amazing dances, one in particular with someone that I was relatively new to dancing with. I like to do contact dance, which you may have seen, where people are dancing. Doesn't necessarily have to be in physical contact. It can be apart, but oftentimes it is. And for my experience of it, it is where I'm connecting in, the other person is connecting in, and when I say connecting in, it is, for me, this idea of with the universe, with the flow, with source, however you want to look at it. We all have different ways of feeling into that. When you're deep in a hobby or something you really enjoy doing, you might feel that kind of timelessness and that feeling of flow where you can just get lost in it. And so that's what I mean when I say that. And so dancing in that way is one really amazing way I found to connect in with that for myself as well as others, because then we meet where we're both in our own flow and the flow of the universe, and then we get to connect in with each other and give that feedback of, okay, I'm feeling the same thing you're feeling, and now we're getting to play with that together. I'll share more about that another time. I'm excited to talk with someone, a good friend from dancing, about that further, so I won't go down that rabbit hole now. The point that I wanted to get to is that this person, a new, really good friend that I was dancing with, we were dancing first to music and connecting in with that, and then the music stopped and we continued to dance together, and we ended up both closing our eyes and continuing, and then having conversation while we were dancing with our eyes closed, still connecting in, and just, it was an amazing connection. And the night went on to various other really special moments, experiences with people, with space, and all of it, the music. And so I use that kind of as, again, that gauge to feel, hey, I'm seeing these different places where things are really feeling like I'm connected in and on my life's path. And so again, this discernment in, okay, well, and sometimes I also want to touch on this piece around discernment is, sometimes I find myself very much in my head about these decisions. I come from background experience of life that can be, you know, very analytical and that kind of math science brain side of things, which, you know, especially in our current society, we spend a lot of time up here and it's easy to get lost in that. And so discernment around when I'm making a decision or we're making decisions in our lives, are we coming from our mind and saying, oh, especially one that I love is, I should do this, or we should do this. You probably may have experienced this idea of shoulding and such, which doesn't really serve us. And whenever I hear myself saying, oh, I should do this, I check in with what the deeper part of that and get curious again. What does that mean? What am I telling myself? Why should I do this? Is it because I really want to? My heart says that, my feelings say that, says, yeah, that feels really good, I'm excited, I'm feeling that life energy coming from this potential decision or thing that I'm choosing? Or am I not so much feeling it? Is it coming from up here? And maybe there's a reason why, like, for example, you know, this comedy show or other things, sometimes they just happen once a month, or it's not that frequent, or maybe I don't always have the opportunity to go, and now I have the odd opportunity. That's, again, thinking in my mind like, oh, you know, I should do this because this opportunity presents itself. And you know, that could be a great possibility, and wouldn't say that choosing that route is a wrong one. It's something that we can all have the opportunity to feel into in the moment, and again, you know, switch at any point. And I think another part for me was this idea of leaving a situation that I had signed up for. You know, I paid money to go check out the show, and then, you know, felt this, sometimes we feel a sense of obligation to stay at an experience or with people that we know. You know, I know a lot of the people and have good connections with them, and so letting go of those things and trusting that I want to listen to my heart, and that, you know, it isn't saying anything about my decisions or leaving a situation, that's okay and fine. And yeah, let's see, what else do I want to share? Oh, I recently drew from one of my oracle decks a card that was around miracles, and this fits in with what I was mentioning about this following synchronicities. I also like to say following the breadcrumbs. Another good friend mentioned that a few months ago, and that's really stuck with me, and I like that idea. But following little miracles is what the card was talking about. Seeing those little miracles, seeing where things are just falling into place. For me, it really connected in with this practice of gratitude, being thankful for the things that are going well in our lives, especially this, again, video I'd like to be timeless for any time where discernment is helpful, and to practice that, and also to say that the reason I'm doing a video right now about that is because it is very pertinent to our times, especially with lots of waves that have been happening, some storms. Things have been a little rough sometimes for me, and I've heard for others as well. And yeah, just to know you're not alone. That's in the collective going on. We have a lot of shifts going on right now. And so to follow, again, those synchronicities, those little miracles, because as we follow these little miracles, we're aligning our path with this external world environment that's inviting in these little miracles and saying, hey, you're connecting, your path that you're choosing to follow now is connecting with this person's path that you just had a little miracle or synchronicity with this person, with nature, with your surroundings, with everything. And that's signs that we are, you know, in flow, feeling good about life and the experience that we're having in it. And for me, it's really exciting when I really drop into that and knowing that it's okay that we're going to come in and out of that, and trusting that as we notice it more and more and practice it more and more, it's going to become a more regular part of our lives, and that it's not going to feel like we have to get into flow. And a lot of people that do work with flow and research and studies talk about this concept of, rather than just dropping into flow when we're doing, our hobby, or, athletes get into the flow and the zone is what it's oftentimes referred to in sports, that it's this idea of continuous flow, so that we don't have to actively try. We're just in it because we've been kind of honing in and putting those puzzle pieces together to make this complete puzzle, or as close to complete as we may ever get, to our life and who we truly are and why we're here, what brings us joy. That's again on feedback, and ways to know when we're there is look at the places and how we experience joy and excitement in our lives. When we're super fascinated about something, we're in awe, we are laughing, we're smiling, we're playing, we're just connecting in with, the animals, nature, anything that feels good and just really nourishes our heart and our soul. And so practicing discernment in our lives to bring in as much as possible those feelings, those experiences. And yeah, I think that is all I'd like to say on discernment for now. I know that I like to go on tangents. I also would love to keep this a little bit shorter and hear any kind of thoughts that you might have, and see, maybe it'll direct what I talk about next. And on the last piece of discernment is, be discerning in following your passions, your heart, what you really enjoy doing, what feels good in your life, shining your light when you feel seen by others. We're all looking to be seen for the light we share. So please share that with those that you see it in, whether they be people that you've known for a long time, family, friends, even someone you've just met, even someone walking by the street. If you see their light, I encourage you to share that, because as we see that in each other, we also see it in ourselves. We are all a reflection, and so getting to share that is what brings us together as human beings, as beings in general, in this world, this universe. And as we come more into that, and we are, and I'm excited to see as our world grows in this, that things are just raising, our collective consciousness is raising, and it's really special. So thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for sharing your light. Please feel encouraged to keep doing that, and look for those feedback loops, those things where you're getting confirmation that, hey, sharing my light and my joy and my passion feels good, and I'm getting that feedback. And keep going. Lots of love to you, and I hope to see you again next time. Thanks for joining me. This is Sunshine Musings, and I am Ian, or Platy.